Hi, hello, and welcome to this first video. It's a little bit strange for me to record myself, so I'm still getting used to it, so please excuse my awkwardness, or if anything is a little off. I'm hoping that we will much improve with the time being, but for now, this is just how it's going to be. Welcome to Sissy's Corner. The reason that I'm putting myself on the internet and that we're doing this is basically because we have figured out that there is a massive, how do I explain this, lack of communication between individuals and the resources that are available globally when it comes to things like public resources that can help in mental health crises, or just overall supporting young people, young adults in going forth. Those topics can include offers for free therapy or for communal groups, but also can include, for example, LGBTQ targeted groups, offers, and organizations. And there's a vast amount of offers, but it's kind of hard as an individual when you are in a situation where you might want or need help to know where to turn. So what we are aiming to do is basically bring awareness through topics of conversation, while also connecting with resources that we find are suitable for the topics that we are speaking on, and also wanting to just enable people that might need help to reach out to set help and organizations. So yeah, we are also supplying templates for emails, or planning on structuring the whole thing in a sense that we are not only linking organizations and of course sources for the topics of conversation that we're covering, but also really want to enable individuals to be able to partake in those options and offers that are out there. So we are going to also make sure that it's possible for people to do the reaching out. If you hear anything in the background, is my little assistant Sissy. She's a cat and she's going to be roaming around in future videos for emotional support, but also just because she's cute. Yeah, a little off topic, but what I wanted to talk about and what I wanted to begin this journey with is basically the fact that sometimes we are made to feel like we are not enough and that we are somehow behind, or that things aren't as picture perfect as they should be, or as we would have wished them to be in our heads. And it's something very real that I'm currently struggling with, because I'm a woman, I'm 30, I am single, and currently also don't really have much prospect when it comes to job opportunities. So the options in life are very limited. That's not to say that I'm not privileged. I'm very privileged, and I'm very aware, but it can sometimes feel like, in comparison to maybe other people in your orbit or what you are seeing on social media, that we are behind. Because on paper, for example, we are not measuring up to what societal expectations are, and also what maybe is suggested as the norm in our social orbit. So it kind of feels like you're losing in one aspect of your life, or in my case, multiple. And that is really difficult, because I personally don't have an issue with my life situation. I know why things are the way that they are, and I am working on changing those things and bettering those things. But at the same time, it's difficult to kind of reimagine what your life looks like. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but when I was very little, I used to always have this idea that by a certain age, quote unquote, I would have my life together, I would have settled down, I would have everything in a row and organized, and that was just the way that we were told to function. That was the way that we were told to live life. And none of this has come to fruition because of different aspects in my life that just have derailed the whole thing. And that's fine. I wish for things to change because, of course, I would like to not be alone for the rest of my life. And I also, would like to have a solid career that I can build on. But at the same time, this feeling of, oh, I'm 30 as a marker and I'm therefore behind is extremely unrealistic, because whose timeline are we talking about? Who are we really speaking about that we measure ourselves up to? For me, it's quite difficult because there aren't really a lot of role models of people that are suggesting that the lifestyle that I'm living is fine and that it's also acceptable. And within my friend group, which is quite broad, I'm one of the only people that is living like I am living. And it's hard because as much as I don't want to compare myself and measure myself with other people, it just happens in daily life that people will come up to you and say, hey, that's a nice plan, but I'm unavailable because I have to take care of my kids. Or, hey, this is not working out because I'm already, busy doing things with my partner. And it's not that I'm, not wanting my friends to have that, or that I'm jealous in the sense that I'm like, oh, I wish I had that. But it, of course, kind of limits availability, and rightfully so, because that's their priority and I'm understanding of it. But it also means that that I spend a lot of time alone, because in my age group, it's very uncommon for people to still be living like I'm living, to still be single, to still have a lot of free time. And that, again, makes it kind of difficult to socially connect. But of course, also, at my age, I don't necessarily want to be around people that are in similar situations that aren't my age, because it just doesn't meet at the same point in life, because I've got a little bit more life experience. And that's not to say that I don't have younger friends, but what I mean is, like, typically people who are in my situations would have just graduated high school, and that's a little bit of a strange combination to me. So yeah, it just means that I'm feeling like socially inadequate in the three main areas of life that we are told by Western civilization that are valued, which is social status, in terms of relationship status, career-wise, but then also, just overall successful, in the sense that I'm kind of, struggling with my mental health on top of that. So all of these aspects come together into a wonderful mixing pot where it's like, okay, I'm not really 100% healthy. I am not what people would like to see. And I'm also nowhere near financially set. So it's like every conversation that goes along those lines is either feels like a pity party, or it feels like I have to be totally emancipated and be like, yeah, but I don't really want, and I've just come on here, and now I've been blabbering on for a while, but I've just come on here to basically say to everyone that's in my boat, everything's okay. There's like a scientific aspect to why we compare ourselves, which has a little bit to do with the fact that it's an instinctive situation that we are trying to compare ourselves in order to know if we are secure or not, or if we can keep up or not with the other humans that are in our orbit, which made sense back in the day. So that's the reason that we use this measure in order to see, okay, how well am I doing, and am I able to survive? But at the same time, our brains aren't made for this constant comparison in a broader sense. It makes sense to compare yourself with the people that are, your friends, your family, whatever, and that alone can suck. But through these options of internationally measuring yourself and like comparing yourself, we're made to feel so much worse because we have everything on a grander, bigger scale, and our brains aren't able to take all this information in and properly put it in a box where it belongs, and it triggers instincts of ours that are made for survival, which isn't applicable to seeing someone on social media or seeing someone that you met like in college or in high school and seeing them succeed on social media. That is something that usually in real life wouldn't be of relevance to us, but because of this access that we have suddenly, makes us feel terrible about ourselves. And yeah, that's not something that our brains are usually made for, or that our brains are capable of understanding, that there's a difference between those two aspects. And so there's no real, how do I say, there's no real basis to this type of comparison, while at the same time triggers our instincts and makes us feel like, oh shit, if I'm not this, and that, I'm not going to be able to survive, I'm not going to be able to compete, and I'm going to be left out, basically. I really wanted to also post this in an unfiltered way, even though I don't like looking at myself right now, but I think it's super important to show a real human while talking about this, without, any airbrush, any filters, whatever, because I feel like we sometimes also lose perspective of what that can look like, myself included, obviously. Yeah, but I've left some articles for you in the back on the base of this video. I'm hoping that you can, garner some information from it, or are made to feel a little bit less alone just by hearing me talk, because you are not alone. I know that there's a lot of us who are in this same situation, and I think community of those people, and that's also, of course, not only women, but young men or middle-aged men, or just in general people. Community is what makes a difference. I realize that if I lean on my friends, I'm feeling so much better. So if you can, just if you want to reach out to someone today, go grab a coffee with them, try to find some fun activity for yourself, treat yourself to something good. Yeah, and make sure that you are enjoying your life as much as possible, and not paying too much heed to comparing yourself and where you are at, because I feel like there is a reason as to why you are where you are in your life, and there's a good reason why things are different for you. And if you want things to change, you are able to with some time and patience. And if you do not wish for things to change, then that's perfectly fine, and you are in your own right able to decide which life model you want to live, and don't ever let anyone else dictate that. I know it's really hard with the constant questions and all of that stuff, but don't let anyone else tell you what you should be doing, how you should be living your life, as hard as it is. But you are the one who can control it, especially if you are a young adult. It's so important to really ask yourself, what would make me happy, and then try and start the steps towards that goal. Yeah, and this is essentially why I'm filming this, and hopefully it motivates you to go after what you want. I hope you have a very good day. Sending a big hug to you, and yes, let's chat in the comments, let's talk soon, let's engage, and let's build a community.